And the way that you get people to believe is you got to tell them a story that actually that they're in, that looks good. Right? Has to be successful, and they should be in it. And that's what the whole thing is about. And you know, you have 140,000 people. If they thought that the story was horrible, or they thought they were not in it, then we wouldn't have any buy-in.
So that kind of brings up inclusion, right? And can you talk a little bit about diversity and inclusion at Xerox and the values there? I've heard you speak about this before.
This is a tough question for me because it's become, and I hate to say this, so ordinary. But we're not anywhere near great. So it can't become ordinary. I'd rather have to continue to kind of gin it up a little bit and disrupt things, because if we settle into where we are now, which is better than most companies, but way behind. I mean, if you look at any representation number of women in the population, Hispanics in the population, we are so far behind. But we happen to have a good process, a process that got us to this point, which is what I would call very good. And that's one where it started a long time ago, way before I came on board. I had very little heavy lifting to do on this subject, because I'm the product of a guy who said, he was looking out his window. He said, look at all these people walking around doing gardening. He would go to the store, he would see women. He'd come to this company, this little company he started called Xerox, and he saw only men all look just like him. And he said, well, this seems to be a bad math equation, right? So if there's a lot of other people out there, we're not talking to any of them, we're not engaging any of them, they could be good employees. So in this little town called Rochester, he decided that he would engage that. And then we had a couple of real big crises where we had race riots and stuff, and he said, for sure, we have to move that forward. For sure, we have to include these people. These people are value-creating people, and if they're not part of the story, right, if they don't see themselves in a story that's successful, then they turn on you. So what he did was he actually started, God, 60, 70 years ago, including people, odd people, black men. And he got some women in, he got some white, some black women in. He got a lot of people, and then the snowball kind of just grew and grew and grew, and so it became fairly natural for us to include, to search for different types of people.